Driving a car that was never really meant to be driven by someone of my size. It's a car that I barely fit in, but I'm still really excited to drive it because it's a very fun to drive vehicle. This is a 2003 Mazda Miata. It's of the NB generation. Some of the powertrain specs. It has a 1.8 liter four-cylinder. That engine from the factory was rated at 142 horsepower and 125 pound-feet of torque. This is, as all of you should know, a small, nimble little vehicle. So that amount of horsepower, while sounding like not a lot, is actually quite more than adequate. This car is equipped with a 5-speed manual transmission. It is rear-wheel drive only, and it's a light, small vehicle, but it has variable valve timing, which really does help make it feel alive. It's a car you rev out. It's not the fastest thing in the world, but it's an enjoyable driving experience. That's what the Mazda Miata is all about. So I've spent time with an NB, not every single generation, but one of the older ones, and then I have spent an entire week with the brand new Miata, which I actually really like. That car was a ton of fun to throw around. So what most appeals to me about this car is the value to fun proposition that you get with it. As an older vehicle, 2003, this car is 15 years old. This one has done 68,000 miles, which actually isn't that many. The prices you can get some of these for is really appealing. Well under 10,000. Let's just say right between, from what I was looking at, ones that you would want to buy between $4,000 to $7,000. Just based on a cursory search, people who know more about might be able to correct me on the values of it. But let's just say you spend $5,000 to $6,000 on a pretty clean example of a Mazda Miata. That's a lot of fun for it. I mean, you get the manual, which is a fun manual. It's got a very short shifter. You have to be very deliberate with it. And it's a nimble, small chassis. There's a reason why people like tracking these things. They like taking them to autocross events. There's spec Miata classes. It's the perfect vehicle for that because it's very affordable. Talking to the owner, you talked about the consumables, the brakes, the tires, the oil, even the engine are very inexpensive and very friendly, which is one of the reasons why I actually considered looking into getting one to take autocrossing or things like that. I think my biggest concern, like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, is I don't quite fit. I'm kind of slouching down, scrunched up to see the traffic light right now. The steering wheel is pretty much in between my legs. If I sat up straight, my head would be like through the top. This car does have some modifications to it. It's got more aggressive tires, different wheels, coilovers, a roll bar bolted in, cold air intake. The owner does want to do a lot more things with it, but a lot of people do enjoy changing and tweaking these cars around. So again, this is not a perfectly stock example of one, but the essence of what this car is still here. Exterior styling wise, I like this generation a lot. Of the older ones, the NB was my favorite. It retains a lot of the kind of the more smiley, happy, cute looking Miata features to it, but doesn't look like the next generation one, which just looks like a happy fish all the time. This red looks really nice on the these different wheels. It's definitely lowered as a cool front lip on it. Miatas, I think it's the styling. They're unmistakably Miata. Like almost everybody, like a Mustang or something, everybody sees it. They know it's a Mazda Miata because a tiny little two-door roadster that looks really happy. That's a Mazda Miata. I like that this one is a little more aggressive. I really like the latest generation. That's the NA, and I don't know the letters, but brand new Miata. That looks straight up like mean. It's aggressive. This one is good. Again, it is tiny. It's 2 seats, convertible top. I imagine watching somebody that's 6'3" like me get in and out of it is probably quite comical. I do remember a friend's dad having a Miata, and I would just, with the top was down and the window was down, I wouldn't bother opening the door. I just kind of step into the car. Stepping into the car, the interior is, I mean, wait, forget about interior. We're on a curvy road. Again, I said this in the ownership video. I firmly believe it's more fun to drive a slow car fast than a fast car slow. And this is one of the cars that really does approximate being a go-kart on the road. You can just go through these curves and hold whatever speed you want, and it just kind of goes around them, and you know exactly where the car is. You feel like you're wearing the car. It's the size of one of my shoes, so it's definitely a lot of fun to drive. Back to the interior. I mean, it's on the more Spartan basic side. It's an older vehicle. This one's a 2003. It's in good condition. This one specifically, I mean, about to hit 68,000 miles in it. The seats are pretty comfortable. I don't know how much I'm relying on the seats to hold me in place going through corners, as more so that I'm just kind of wedged into the car, like my knee is in the door and everything. So, again, I think the biggest takeaway I have is it's just not for somebody of my size. But it has everything. I mean, it's got AC. The AC works actually quite well. It's got the dials, and everything is easy to read and understand, easy to drive. I very, very quickly become comfortable in one of these cars. I took off from the parking lot, did a couple shifts, stopped at a stop sign, started going again, done, ready to go. Take one corner, steering back and forth, you're comfortable and ready to drive this thing. And you can take corners like this. Whee! So let's circle back a little bit more to the driving aspect of it. As you know, I mean, it's a lot of fun. You don't have to have a bajillion horsepower to have fun in a car. This is a nimble little thing. It's manual. If this was automatic, I would be not even interested. I don't think it would lose more than 50% of its appeal. A little engine that likes to be revved out. It's light. It's easy to throw around. It's a friendly shifter to drive around with. It has all the ingredients, really. The owner wants to turbocharge this one. I think that would be hilarious. If you like double the horsepower output and make them crazy fast, holy crap, I can't imagine what that would be like. That would be quite a lot of fun. Maybe we'll do a review of it when it's done. But all I can say is NB Miata is a lot of fun to drive. And even though you're not going a million miles an hour, it's not doing 0 to 60 in 3.5 seconds, you can still have a big smile on your face. Whipping roundabouts in this thing is a lot of fun. You just kind of, there's a couple of linked roundabouts around here, and just kind of go through them when there's no traffic. That'll put a smile on your face. There were a couple other interior things I did want to talk about. I couldn't figure out how to make the steering wheel telescope up and down, so it literally is between my knees right now. A little bit frustrating. This car has the roll cage, like the roll bar in, which is nice. Apparently it did help with the structural rigidity, and the car was a little less floppy. A couple little coilovers. It does handle really well. I feel like this is a very solid vehicle. Feels still really high quality despite its age. Nothing is like really rattling. Get a little bit of wind noise from this top. The top is mechanical only. It's a Miata. It's simple basics. You flip these two little tabs there, fold it back, and it just sits back there. It's by hand. There's no mechanical, or there's mechanical, but there's no like electronic control or motor that does any of that. It's all for yourself. What else? I think I've covered everything about it. I mean, at, let's just say $5,000 to $7,000 for a moderate acceptable mileage Mazda Miata. If you want a fun toy, a summer car to throw around that you can take autocrossing, that you can take out on the weekends for a nice top-down drive on a back road or something, I mean, I think it's a good choice. Don't get this if it's your only car. I mean, owner of this has a different car for the winter. I wouldn't recommend that as much, because if you need to go to grocery shopping or want to go on a road trip, I personally could not do that. But as a fun-to-drive car, you could take to track events and autocross. Checks all the boxes. The value proposition is unbeatable. It's apparently pretty reliable and easy to work on. And at the end of the day, it's a car that I would look forward to hopping in and driving and be like, hey, let's take the Miata. There'll be a curvy road to go on. That will be fun. And I think that's the most important thing of this car. I hope you guys liked this video. If you have any questions, please comment below. Thanks for watching.